Botswana unveiled the first locally assembled electric vehicles that are backed by Chinese brands. Botswana has been successful in manufacturing the first batch of electric vehicles at its newly assembled plant in Gaborone. This is with the support of two Chinese vehicle manufacturing companies. This is a wonderful step for Botswana for multiple reasons. Today we want to understand what does this mean for Botswana and its future and its economy. And could this be Botswana's step into the automotive industry to compete with the likes of South Africa, Morocco, and places like Kenya, Uganda for electric vehicle manufacturing within the African continent? Now, the unveiling ceremony took place at the showroom of Botswana Institute of Technology, Research and Innovation, which was established in 2012 under the Ministry of Communications, Knowledge and Technology. The Botswana Institute for Technology, Research and Innovation is known by BITRI, and its chief executive officer said the unveiling ceremony is culmination of a partnership between the institution, BITRI Chief Executive Officer Shedden Masupe. I do apologize if I've mispronounced the names. Now, he said the unveiling ceremony is a culmination of partnership between the institute and two Chinese companies. According to Masupe, one of the Chinese manufacturers has partnered with BITRI in assembling sport utility vehicles, SUVs, while the other company is CHTC, Kinwi Automotive. They'll be assisting Botswana to produce locally electric buses. After inspecting the vehicles, Botswana President Masisi commended the BITRI for choosing the right partners in China's. Masisi commended BITRI for choosing the right partners in Chinese companies, saying the initiative will go a long way in supporting and promoting the usage of renewable energy in the automotive industry. The president also said, and I quote, "This is one of the examples of our commitment to e-mobility. We want to play a part in this, not just for our economy and environment, but also to enhance those aspects of knowledge economy that optimize our natural endowments." In this image, we have locally trained engineers assemble an electric vehicle in Gaborone. And in this image, you can see the president of Botswana himself seating in one of those vehicles that has been manufactured in his country. What a moment this is for Botswana, something that they could truly be proud of. Over the past few decades, there are many things Botswana can be proud of. Without any doubt, this is one of those African countries that have definitely got a very good leadership. They're certainly doing well by the people, and they seem to want to continue to thrive with their local economy and to continue advance their economy, not just for local purposes, but also for the citizens' well-being. This is one of the companies in question that Botswana is working with. This company is Skywell. They are a Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer. These are some of the vehicles that they currently manufacture, and some of these vehicles are being manufactured in Botswana. Now, surprisingly, this is not the first time I've seen these vehicles. I've seen Skywell vehicles before, not in person per se, but I've seen these vehicles online. This is the vehicle in question that I've seen most often. This vehicle is a Skywell prototype. It's sort of like a sedan. These are the type of vehicles that the company will someday produce. I believe at the moment this vehicle is only a prototype, but it's something that they intend to produce. It's an extremely advanced company to say the least, and it's very promising to see that they can produce their vehicles in different areas of this planet. Another company that Botswana is working with is Kinwi Automotive. They're a manufacturer of electric vehicle platforms such as buses, trucks, and currently they're manufacturing some of these vehicles in Botswana. Now, the country of Botswana intends to develop their manufacturing capabilities. They want to manufacture these vehicles on a larger scale. They want to engage in a transfer of technology. This is the era we're in fact. So you can see here, these are some of the vehicles that are being locally produced in China. What you have in Botswana is something quite similar. You have a small assembly plant where these vehicles are being manufactured. What you will soon have is an actual automotive factory. Not just an assembling plant, but an actual automotive factory to manufacture vehicles. And it's very good to see that Botswana is not just starting with any particular vehicle, but electric vehicles to be specific. And I'm sure the country of Botswana, they want to grow their collaboration with the electric vehicle era. So let's get into some more technical information. BITRI to train BITRI to train 150 more technicians, having successfully trained over 150 technicians, assembled a semi-knockdown e-mobility SUV and 3 buses locally. The Botswana Institute for Technology Research and Innovation is set to enter the automotive market lightly before December. Now that in itself is already quite impressive. Undoubtedly, this was a challenging endeavor, as BITRI faced numerous obstacles. During negotiations on several occasions, they were forced to abandon promising deals at the final stages. This was largely due to the fact that some of the components sources country had made it clear that they had no interest in manufacturing within the African continent. In an interview with the Botswana Guardian, BITRI Chief Executive Officer Professor Shedden Masupe shared that the next significant step is to begin production using the order components for SUVs and buses, which will then be launched into the market. It's important to note that it's part of the agreement we need to start with 50 SUVs and 30 buses. We've already made payments for those components, and they're en route to Botswana, including components for 30 buses, he said. Masupe revealed that BITRI had trained a total of 150 technicians. He added that they worked with the panel beaters, auto mechanics, electricians, and welders who had either completed certificates or diplomas. He also said, and I quote, "The training of the technicians continues because we need a total of 300, but unfortunately, we will not be able to absorb them. But all the companies around will absorb them as they're bringing in the EVs." The launch of the electric car on Monday received mixed reaction, with some critics stating that BITRI is merely assembling the vehicles rather than manufacturing them. Responding to this, Masupe clarified, "What we often overlook as a country is that all vehicles, regardless of the maker, are assembled. Major car manufacturers operate within an ecosystem where different components are produced separately and later brought together at an assembly line. Here in Botswana, while we may initially source components from a supplier, the vehicle will be assembly local." Masupe also noted that the shipping components from China to Botswana takes approximately 6 weeks, though unexpected delays beyond anyone's control could extend that time frame. But if the parts arrive in 8 weeks, we should be able to assemble them. Now, I have my personal opinions on this criticism that Botswana has received, or critiqued that they've received. You have to understand that at the moment, Botswana manufactures no vehicle really. So assembling vehicles is actually a great way to start. The next step is to manufacture vehicles, and then the next step is to manufacture your own components, which you then use to manufacture those vehicles. But in order to do all of that, you have to start somewhere. And I'm very happy to see that Botswana is willing to start with vehicle assembly. The next step is vehicle manufacturing. The next step is component manufacturing. This all takes time, and this all has to be done in stages. It is rather difficult right now for Botswana to do all of that without the expertise. In order to introduce that expertise within an ecosystem, you would have to import your workers. Botswana would rather train its own population, which is a great way to start once again. So by starting with an assembly plant, they can start training these individuals for assembly. They can then go in the field of factory, manufacturing, and then they can train additional people for manufacturing purposes or people who are already trained in assembly. The next stage is manufacturing components, which takes very interesting expertise to do. So there are levels to this. It's not something that you can accomplish all at one stage. What people often forget is that cars are a very complex machine. These are incredibly complex machines, and you might see your nicest vehicle on the road, Mercedes, BMW. Now these vehicles, they are not entirely built by Mercedes. The same thing goes for an Audi. The same thing goes for a BMW. I have a BMW. In fact, the engine was built by Citroën. So will people then argue that that's a problem? Why is it a problem? That's called business. It is not uncommon for other companies or countries to manufacture your vehicle parts. It's actually very, very common. In vehicles, there are so many things in vehicles. Touchscreen, computers. There are so many components. There are so many car parts. There are brakes. There are so many things. Some of these parts are often manufactured by third-party companies. So this is why I say before you criticize Botswana for starting an assembly plant, I would like to see your solution. What is your solution? Because often people just like to criticize without having a better solution. What is your solution to bring the automotive industry to Botswana? Because clearly they were talking to other European brands who were not interested. This is the perfect way for Botswana to start its automotive industry ambitions by locally assembling vehicles. And then the next step is, of course, locally manufacturing these vehicles in your own manufacturing plants. In order to do this, you need companies. In order to do this, you need customers. To run an automotive industry, there are so many parts at play. There's so many things that are involved. The average person could not understand this. If they could, they'd be running their own automotive empire. So when you see a country that is going forward, that wants to develop, that wants to help their citizens learn how to be mechanics, engineers, electrician, the list goes on. Why is this such a problem? Isn't this a good thing? The people in the local economy are given skills, jobs. They're given a chance. And in return, the local economy gets to manufacture vehicles. And if they're locally manufactured, they'll ideally be more affordable because they're not imported. The parts were imported, and that's completely normal. That is very normal for car parts to be imported. At the moment, Botswana has none of its companies that are manufacturing vehicles. Perhaps one day there will be a company in Botswana, a Botswana company that manufactures their own vehicle. But in order to do that, you have to start somewhere. You have to start small. You have to be ambitious. You have to be patient long term. You have to train as many people as possible. You need highly skilled individuals to run a manufacturing factory. So before you can do all of that, I suggest starting with vehicle assembly. And that's exactly what Botswana is doing. So I want to give a round of applause to Botswana for moving forward and for helping its local economy. It's absolutely the right step to take. But everything takes time. And often people just lack patience. But I believe this is a great step for Botswana. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Share your thoughts below in the comments and join the community. Subscribe, leave a like, and I will see you in our next video.